Welcome to the latest This Week's Acca podcast, sponsored by Sky Bet Acca Freeze. Tom, Jake and Joe with you, as ever, to run through the schedule. Coming up on this episode, then, we're working out how to navigate a quite tricky-looking Saturday slate as we approach the end of the season. We're talking players in the pub, Steve Evans' heroic homecoming as well. How could we not? And we're also reflecting on someone's remarkable 11,000 to 1 winner. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss an episode. And remember to keep it fun, never bet more you can afford. Please gamble responsibly. Last week's Acca then. Jimmy's still not here, so unfortunately it's us three, which is probably disappointing because I can't remember all 5 teams. And we did the Grand National extra thing on Friday, and I couldn't remember the 5 teams then, so it's not exactly like this is a new thing. But it was rubbish. 2 wins, a draw was there, and 2 losses. Big fat X on the record.
Yeah, the Bristol City late equaliser against Huddersfield saved us from being a 3-loss and a 2-win. I don't know if anyone's seen the equaliser, but the
blatant handball.
I don't think anyone will look at that and go, yeah, that was nearly as bad as the handball outside the area that was given as a penalty in last midweek. So it wasn't a great week for EFL refereeing, but no, I've kind of taken us away from the poor Acca that we built last week, which I'm sure we're all pleased about.
Significant week in the history of the EFL, though, because Stevenage losing at home to Burton meant that Stevenage, I can't work out whether it's mathematically or it's pretty much mathematically, because of goal difference, meant they could not make the playoffs, pretty much, if things didn't go their way midweek, which they didn't, which then meant, hello, Big Steve-O back at Rotherham.
If there's
news of the season.
If there's one episode that Jimmy didn't want to miss, it's one where there's probably going to be a little dedicated point here of Steve Evans-based chat, because people were saying, I can't believe he's going when they've still got a shout of playoffs. They've not got a shout of the playoffs, right? This is There's 2 games left of which they need about, it's in front of me, a 12-goal swing, and Oxford forget how to play football completely. Of course, Friday, they play each other, don't they? So that could be a big thing there. But biggest point of the week, isn't it? Steve Evans is big departure back to Rotherham.
Yeah, you've got to...
He had time as well with 2 games left.
It is. You've got to appreciate the kind of up and down transition of playing style at Rotherham. I mean, they started the season being, quite fairly direct, hard, trying to play in what we would class as a vintage Rotherham way, and then pivoted halfway through the season and it turned into a team that want to play out from the back, and there was so many clips doing the rounds of games where they've just basically passed the ball to the opponent with an open net, and now they're flipping back to the tried and trusted successful method of Rotherham football, which is, big lads, lump it forward, be able to beat.
I did enjoy the reading through the manager candidate list, and then I think it was Wednesday when it happened, quite early on, Scott Lindsay at Crawley was very high up in the betting. How long do you think the transition would take from a Steve Evans side to a very possession? I think they set up fairly similarly. That's where the comparison ends. It will take them more than one whole pre-season to get adjusted to not just absolutely levering it up front to someone big.
It's not just the style of play, it's also the players to be able to play that style, right? It's one thing saying, you pass it around at the back, but you've got to have the players to do that. So it would take a huge transition, a summer transition of ins and outs to...
I'm really glad we had a little football-based chat, and I wanted to keep that going because I don't know about you, but feeling 22. I have 3 games down. I have 3 results this week. It is the penultimate week of the season if you're a League 1 or League 2 fan. Final week if you're a National League fan, and it's I don't know what the word is for 3 away, but it's that and the Championship as well. So we really are at a point of the season where not a lot to play for a lot of teams. I have found this slate incredibly tricky to navigate, and I think for the first time this season, genuinely, and it's because of the time of the season, I just don't like an awful lot. I don't know how anyone else feels.
I don't think you're on your own. I mean, I feel the same. I'm sure everyone out there listening will probably feel the same when they look at the slate this weekend, because there are very few, as you would class, bankers, and even some of the favourites, they've got real question marks to answer, potentially tricky. I'm the same as you. I think I had 3 or 4, but even then, there's maybe 2 that I was really confident in building an Acca around. So, yeah, what about yourself?
I literally had nothing. Yeah,
3-2.
I came into the office this morning, and I was like, "How are we all feeling then about trying to build this Acca?" Because I've only got both teams to score shouts. That there is literally not one team at the prices this weekend that I'm happy backing. I'm looking at the recent Accas we've backed, and last weekend is a really good example that Burton on a horrendous run. But Stevenage, like last chance saloon to try and make the playoffs, they go and win away. Lincoln, brilliant run of form, just starting to tail off. Wigan, nothing to play for, lose at home. Bristol City, nothing to play for. Huddersfield scrapping for their lives, should have lost that game. So it's just thrown it all out of whack. Midweek, same. Championship promotion race, it's gone to absolute shit. And then
Funny, isn't it?
the prices just don't reflect any of it. And then the matchups are bad as well this weekend. So I literally could not pick a game where I like it for an Acca. There's a couple of like big outsiders that I'd be like worth chucking a bit at, but not for an Acca. No way.
We'll revisit the BTTS thing shortly because that's an interesting point. What teams do we have down, by the way? Because we've said combined we have 5 between us. Well, 7 if you have the couple of long shots, right? I am going to confidently guess they're the same, a few of them. And you can tell from the tone that if we're building an Acca this weekend, maybe a little less money than usual because we're not too confident. Yeah. Where would we look? What kind of teams do we have down? Because we may as well kind of get it out there now because I don't think we're going to get far going down this path. Where are we looking?
I think this is going to be a very much an elevator pitch style, isn't it? Of just if we were going to have one, what we're going to do. So
tell me that pen.
It'd be Norwich.
I've got Norwich.
You got Norwich.
That's one.
Right, that's one. They're definitely in. Blackpool.
Who are Norwich playing?
Norwich are at home to Bristol City.
Give us like a
little bit.
fire.
Okay.
Yeah.
Norwich home form's been unbelievable. Unbeaten in 13 home, 1-11 against Bristol City. Nothing to play for.
Bristol City, the most unpredictable team.
Could say that.
Well.
But it does seem as though they're saving their best for home games, Bristol City. Of the last 19 away, they've won 3 and lost 8, so they don't travel very well.
Move it along. This is not... Where are you getting an elevator
I went
space?
Norwich have a shot 5th
Next.
as well.
Go on.
Real good cut.
I said Norwich and I was moving on, and Tom wants
go.
a bit more
Quickly.
context. Blackpool.
I've got Blackpool.
I've got Blackpool as well. It's a massive game, really. I think a Blackpool win puts them 2 behind Barnsley with 1 to play. All of a sudden, Barnsley are looking a bit nervy. I had Doncaster. Did the Barnsley make the playoffs?
Felt a nice point to talk about it.
Yeah, but I know that Tom said we'll be talking about this a bit later on. This is a both teams to score game for me. That we might dig into a little bit later. Barnsley probably their best performance of the season midweek and somehow managed to lose away at Portsmouth. Horrendous individual error to give a penalty away with a couple of minutes to go, then conceded from a set piece straight after to lose 3-2. But played really, really well with a load of players missing as well. So I wouldn't be backing against them.
Very jealous of Conor Shaughnessy, by the way. Imagine being the person that scores a bullet header from a set piece to win a title. What a feeling.
Absolutely.
Where else? What else?
You give us your third.
Bolton to beat Port Vale. I know
they seemed like the biggest lock of the weekend.
Yeah. Need to get back on track. Second best home team. Port Vale rubbish. Real relegation trouble. There's your elevator style pitch for that. 5. What could go wrong? What could go wrong at this time of season?
That is true. My favourite bet was actually Lincoln at Cheltenham. You're getting 13 to 10. Price is huge. I think this is huge. Both had big wins in midweek. Lincoln by far the better team. Cheltenham have lost the last 4 home games against middling to crap teams. Charlton, Exeter, Carlisle, Bristol Rovers. Lincoln are far better than all those. Unbeaten in 8 away, won 5. Absolutely dominated 2 sides around Cheltenham as well. Port Vale, Carlisle. I think they go there and win comfortably.
I would not go near that game at all.
Cheltenham have been rubbish for all season.
Relegation threatened, scrapping for their lives at home.
I think their last 5 wins have come against teams in the bottom 6. I think this is this will be in Saturday Best Bets written by me.
Excellent. Look out for that on site then. 2 long shots.
Yeah, what do you have?
What would you go then? You couple of long shots, or have you just?
There's one other. There's one other. I'm sure there's one other that somebody mentioned.
I only had the 3. Bolton,
Doncaster,
Norwich,
Peterborough.
I got Peterborough down here. They were kind of iffy, but it was more price.
Shouted out a team, but Portsmouth.
Peterborough usually get mentioned on this podcast, don't they?
Yeah. 7 to 10 away at Bristol Rovers. Bolton went off at 1 to 2 against Bristol Rovers not so long ago. Maybe
Hey,
a price play.
I've got 6 teams in here, 33 to 1. We just leave now?
Yeah,
That's
should we
it.
just settle on that?
Yeah.
You
Couple of
have
quid.
teased us with a couple of long shots
Yeah,
now. I
you
want
have,
to
yeah.
see if you're just doing a bit of a bluff here to say, it's some.
I was a bit.
Do you want to have a guess at what they are? I reckon one might be Colchester.
There's absolutely no chance that I would back that 6-team Acca, by the way. I'm not in a month or so.
I would
Should
reckon,
win now.
I'd
logically,
go on. It depends what we think about a long shot. Thing is, I move on really quick. Rotherham at home to Birmingham, 100%. I'm taking that with
okay.
Steve Evans back.
Yeah.
Like
Little managerial
absolute
swing.
definite. But again, I like that for BTTS. What was my other one?
Was it Colchester?
Gillingham away at Mansfield. I'm trying to think logically.
Yeah, it's the teams that have gone up.
Yeah, teams
So,
have nothing to play for.
yeah.
So we should say
Wigan-
Stockport won the league, haven't they? Mansfield.
We're gonna Pompey,
Wrexham.
15 to 4. And then where's your other one?
That one.
Stocky,
Accrington.
15 to 2. Accrington at Stockport. Stockport 3 to 10 to win that game. They're going to be on the piss all week.
We all thought they'd be on the piss after
Yeah,
last weekend.
it's
And
just
they
like when
when
they-
closed up at County, didn't they?
Yeah, but they've not won the league, had they?
They'd be promoted, and
Yeah,
if you've
won the league, you go again. Like, look at Chesterfield. Since they've won the league,
They're just completely on the beach, aren't they?
yeah, the
Completely
teams
on
that have won the league.
I think if they were
those
closer
prices
to the
are ridiculous.
If Chesterfield were closer to the Wrexham points tally of breaking that, then I think they might have carried on. But
What have Stockport and Portsmouth got to play for now? They've won the title. Like, definitely go against
if you
them
put
this
them in a
week.
double, what price are you getting?
Oh man.
Accrington, Wigan double.
So
Then let's walk out of here.
might have
The
this.
Acca, couldn't it?
Yeah, 40 to 1.
40 to 1 double for this week's Acca then.
Like it. Just in the double chance.
I mean, I would, if you haven't already, and on the topic of
Yeah.
how players are treating this,
I'm not even kidding. We're going to build something
Seek out-
inferior to that over the next 25 minutes.
get on social media and seek out. Have we seen Paddy Lane's interview with BBC Solent Sport? Is it? Obviously, Portsmouth promoted, weren't they, as we said there, or champions on Tuesday. They grabbed Paddy Lane, and someone's just put the clip up on Twitter, and it is like, it was 24 hours later, so the Wednesday night or whatever.
Oh, man.
He is not, clearly hasn't really stopped since they won the title, and it's just kind of like just starts chuckling away to himself. So I think if there's probably an accurate summary of how title winning teams and promoted teams, maybe this weekend, that could be it. So maybe 40 to 1 doubles onto something.
100%.
BTTS wise, that was mentioned earlier. How would we feel about doing something like that at this stage? Because we kind of said there, and you can probably tell from the tone, it's a bit downbeat, it's a bit, don't know. The results are tough. Do you think there's enough in the BTTS to maybe put something out for this weekend, more closely aligned to what we'd usually have?
Yeah.
Is there a longer list there that we can go through?
There's quite a lot. And similarly, so those games, I'd be looking at BTTS, the two that are in outside a double. Talking of an outsider double, anyone who's read sportinglife.com this week,
Yeah.
then somebody backed the biggest outsider double that they could at the weekend. So Liverpool losing at home to Palace, Arsenal losing at home to Villa, Rangers losing to Ross County, Sevilla winning at Las Palmas, and then who's the other one? West Ham losing at home to Fulham, and they won 100k. 11,000 to 1 Acca off a £10 stake. Like, absolutely insane.
That's appealing to me, because there's got to be
There's
got to be some as
absolutely
well.
mad.
There's going to be some as well who there's going to be variations on this as well. Plymouth at home to Leicester, Blackburn away at Leeds as well. I mean, if Middlesbrough turned over Ipswich, it would have been like, oh my god, this is remarkable.
Probably just Southampton fans backing that, and just in hope.
Maybe we should get this guy to do the Acca.
Yeah, where is he?
Maybe we should get in touch with whoever the person was that had the 11,000 to 1 Acca and said, do you want in?
I love some of the comments on our Facebook page, because he said, saw this coming, I think, that George, our social media man, put on the post, and was like, don't think he did see it coming. It's a bit of luck. It's like, can't believe he did not see this coming. It was just luck. So people were absolutely raging at the comment. Like, come on, the guy just won 100 grand. Give him a bit of credit.
Yeah.
And give us a little bit of money. Would be very nice. I tell you what, quick break. Let's get BTTS going. Let's go through some teams and see if we can build our own 11,000 to 1 success story for what is kind of the penultimate weekend of the season. During a little break bit there, Jake said you can't possibly get 11,000 to 1 BTTS, so I quickly went down the long list, and we'd have to have a 17-fold accumulator, of which we'd have to have both Prem games, all 3 p.m. Championship ones, all 3 p.m. League One ones, apart from alphabetical, Leyton Orient, Fleetwood, Portsmouth, Wigan. You don't need that.
Okay.
Or you could have it. That's 10, 6, 4, 1 to 1. If you want to say, let's go Portsmouth Wigan, 18,000 to 1.
There we go.
So that's an 18-fold BTTS there for no other reason than just chuck them all in.
I'm going to say small.
Do you want to take that approach?
Small stakes to that.
Yeah.
I'd probably go,
What
yeah.
am we doing what that bloke does and put a tenner on it?
Yeah, that is that's a bit bold. If he limits himself to £10 bet every week, fair play. If he's just putting £10 on, life-changing amount of money, but probably bet less on an 11,000 to 1 marker, I'd say.
Where do we want to open up with then? What's kind of the strongest sort of fancies when it comes to what looks to be like a BTTS Acca then for the weekend? Where do we want to go first?
I'd love to go Prem first, because I think both Prem games have got a real shout of being included here. We've got Luton at home to Brentford, which is it's a big game for Luton. I've not got their slate in front of me, but this looks like one of the more winnable games remaining. They're going to have to go for it. They've been very good for goals all season long, have Luton, especially at home. I think they've scored in every single home game bar one, which was against Spurs, and everyone seems to score against Spurs. So that's a bit of a strange one. But they've also conceded in every single home game bar one. So BTTS has clicked in all bar 2 of their home games this season. And Brentford, the way in which they're playing at the moment, still look vulnerable defensively, missing key players. But going forward, they have pretty much all their attacking weapons back. You've got Tony and Boemo's back in, Visser, Morpay if he wants to play. So I think BTTS looks a solid pick. You look about 1 to 2, so it's not the biggest of prices, but I think it's a good way to start.
To be fair, we'd include teams at that price anyway to win in the usual
This is
Acca, wouldn't we?
true,
I mean, the home results there, Luton 2-1, 1-1, 2-3, 2-6, 1-2, 1-3, 4-0 when they beat Brighton, 2-3, 1-0 against Newcastle. Brentford's away games, 3-3, 2-1, 2-1, 4-2, 1-0, 0-2, 3-2, 2-2 draw in the FA Cup, 3-1. So it seems to be the nice mix.
Went a bit robotic there.
There's a lot of numbers. A lot of numbers, but what you didn't hear a lot of zeros, which that's important in BTs, Thoughts on this? I like it.
I'd be surprised if both teams to score doesn't land in this game. And just on Luton's slate, then I still feel like there's this prevailing thought that bloody hell, Luton have done well, but they're still going to go down. They've got Brentford, Everton, and Fulham at home still. And their home form has been superb. And not just their home form, but like making it a contest for pretty much every single team that's gone there, including like the best teams. They've had to die for 3 points. So this game, like Jake said, they are going to bloody go for it. And they'll do whatever. So Brentford, poor defensively. Luton, they're going to go for it because they'll think we need to win one of these 3 home games. They win, they're out the bottom 3. So I think it's one of the early locks for us in the BTTS.
You mentioned both, actually. So there's only 2 in the Premier League at 3 p.m. because we've got the FA Cup semi-finals, of course, and there's the other TV fixtures to go around with it. Sheffield United Burnley, another big game at the bottom of the table. If we're being honest, they're both going to go down. So a draw's no good to either anyway. Again, though, this one, another 1 to 2 short price, but given kind of recent form of the 2 sides, you look at Sheffield United at home, 2-2, 3-3. Arsenal put 6 past them, Brighton put 5 past them, Villa put 5 past them as well, good teams. Burnley, 2-2 draws, a couple in there as well, away at Chelsea and West Ham. Again, this has the look of a feel where... look of a game? I'll go with that. That should see both teams scoring.
Yeah, I think so. And this is literally last chance saloon for both, in my opinion. I mean, Sheffield United, if they win this game, they're going to go down anyway. Burnley win, the way in which they've kind of steadied the ship, and they're not winning a lot of matches at the minute, but they're not losing too many, so they're kind of still just lurking there. They're 6 points behind Forest. So if they were to go there and win, Forest and Everton play each other on the Sunday, which means obviously either both or one of them is going to drop points, and it means that they're still technically alive. So I think we're going to see a bit of a ding-dong battle, go down swinging. And that's kind of what Sheffield United have done recently. I know it's not resulted in good results, but they've kind of changed the style a little bit, been a little bit more direct. McBurney and Burton Diaz up front, and they've started knocking it a little bit long, which I think could cause Burnley some problems. And obviously at the other end, Sheffield United just can't defend.
Yeah, what Jake said. Not really got anything to add to that. I'd have them both in.
Say, would you want to lock those two in? Should we just take the 2-3 p.m. Premier League games around 6 to 5-ish on the double if you go both teams to score in there to kind of kick off that weekend, Acca?
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's beautiful having 4 teams that are terrible defensively. Is a beautiful starting point, isn't it? I don't really like going much shorter than 1 to 2.
Yeah.
So it's a nice line to get sorted.
And it's just worth noting, like, just in general, the Premier League this season's been an absolute goal haven. Like, it's been ridiculous, really. 3.24 goals per match, which is going to absolutely smash the all-time record for a Premier League season. Both teams have scored in 62% of matches. That's without taking into account teams that are playing, the potential stakes, the motivation, all that kind of stuff. So I think we're in a good spot having both these two in.
Let's lock those two in then for the first 2 picks of this week's Acca. Then it's just the 2 games at 3 p.m. in the Premier League. It's both teams to score in Luton versus Brentford and Sheffield United versus Burnley. If you've reached this stage in the podcast, you're clearly invested, you're clearly interested, so thank you, of course. But we want to hear from you, as we always do. Ahead of next season, we want to know what you like about the podcast, what could be better, aside from obviously a few more winners, which would be nice. What you don't like, who we should get rid of. Let us know. We want to hear all of your thoughts, either in the comments or by reaching out to Sporting Life Football on social media. So there's 2 games there that have huge significance on it. I know Sheffield United are playing Burnley, but like I said, it really is the last chance there if they are to stay up. They both need to find a win in that one. Do we think with this we have to go for the games that do have something riding on them? Or can we throw back to what we were talking about earlier, particularly Paddy Lane, that if you've been spending the week on the piss, but say you're at home, is it probably better to look BTTS? And in this particular case, Portsmouth have got Wigan. It just looks like a game that potentially is there. I just don't know how this is going to go. Ultimately, Portsmouth can relax now. It's not even like Stockport, who were basically promoted but needed to win to get the title. Portsmouth have got the championship wrapped up. Already on the trophy, got that secured, already promoted. Very little to play for. Be a party atmosphere at Fratton Park, as you'd expect. Either Wigan go 1-0 up early on and nobody really knows what happens, going, what we like, or Portsmouth could be like 3-0 up and Wigan get a nothing goal in the 70th minute. It just feels like a game where it could just be full of goals because nobody really cares anymore, and it's a typical end of season clash with very little riding on it.
Yeah, I'm well on board with it, Tom. Then I like the idea of like backing it in the 1x2 for the away win or the double chance, as a separate thing. But the both teams to score, I like it because I think it's about 5 to 6, something like that at the moment. And I think it's just being priced because of it being a team that's currently well clear at the top of League One, won the title already, against a middle of the road team, not accounting for the fact that they've already won the league. Really, this price might already be gone by kickoff, because if the bookies clue onto that, and a lot of people do, then it goes out the window, doesn't it? And for exactly the reasons you've just explained. So it's not just the matchup for me. I think we're getting a huge price for the circumstances, because in reality, you can't price it. You can't price the circumstances
expected beers.
Yeah, of what the actual game state is. You really, really can't. So we should be jumping on that price. If we think that Wigan are a massive price because of the circumstances, both teams to score is exactly the same, and it's 5 in a row for Pompey, 4 out of the last 5 for Wigan. And it's not like they're teams that aren't being involved in goal-scoring matches already. A classic in midweek for Pompey, beating Barnsley 3-2 to clinch the title. Seen Wigan a couple of times of a really good team. So a massive amount of goal threat in there. I really like it.
I was going to say, you touched on it there, but the recent forms of it as well, isn't it, actually? Even in games that did matter, still has been clicking.
When everyone was sober, they were still conceding goals. It's actually stretches back further for Portsmouth at home. So they've actually had both teams to score land in 12 of the last 13 home matches, which is insane. And even if they weren't promoted, I'd still be backing this. even if they were going for the title, I'd still be backing this, because that just shows you that, yeah, they're scoring a lot of goals, but they can't keep clean sheets even when they're playing for something. And Wigan, away from home, BTTS has landed in 8 of their last 10. So, yeah, they hit the net quite regularly, and they've been to Lincoln, Oxford, Peterborough in that time and scored. So 4-5 looks huge.
Disappointing lack of teams who... I think it only really applies to the Championship because they get the staggered kick-off times because of TV, but there's been a disappointing lack of teams who get promoted having not played will then go out drinking for, say, 2 days, but then have to play on like the Sunday, for example. And then you just get to watch a bunch of players really struggling and hating to be there in a nothing game that doesn't matter to them, really trying to get through. Obviously, it's great. You want to get promoted playing, right? This is what you want, like. But there's been a disappointing lack of that this season, and hopefully we will get it soon, because then maybe they are ripe for BTTS games.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. If someone in the Championship can sort their act out, please, and just clinch the league and get on with it.
Yeah, that's not going to happen with the way they're going, is it?
No, it's going to... Norwich will end up winning it somehow. Don't know if the maths adds up, but they might do it.
Yeah.
Third pick then.
Yeah.
We seem pretty settled on this one. Joining Luton versus Brentford and Sheffield United versus Burnley, and are both teams to score Acca. We are taking champions of League One Portsmouth when they take on Wigan. Luton, Brentford, Sheffield United, Burnley, Portsmouth versus some other football team, and that's irrelevant in this one. Wigan. Both teams to score treble, around 3-1 at the moment. Who wants to take it next? Where are we fancying? Go for it.
I mentioned this last time I was sitting in this chair. That I don't know where it's been in Jimmy's seat that just draws you towards talking about Steve Evans. Must be something in the air conditioning here. That the price that jumped out the most to me in the both teams to score slate is 19-20 about Rotherham against Birmingham. Two bad teams. They are bad.
They are bad.
No offence to supporters of those clubs. They are bad. Rotherham.
I don't think it will come as a surprise, particularly if you support Rotherham and you're going, how dare you? How dare you?
Won 4 times all season.
23 points or something on game 44. How dare you?
Exactly. And it's not both teams to score, yes, but both teams to concede.
Yes.
That's how I want to see it. So, can I legitimately say that I trust both these teams to keep a clean sheet? Absolutely not. So, to see that at just a smidgen under even money, I'm all over it. Yeah, without Steve Evans there, no, probably Birmingham go there, try and eke out a 1-0 win. But they've been struggling to keep clean sheets. It's been goal-ridden, their run of matches recently. I think part of the reason why it took a little while for Gary Rowett to get a grip of it. But Steve Evans going there, it's mental that he has gone for the last couple of games of the season. He's not taken over in the summer. He's just going to be wanting them to absolutely get stuck in, find a way to score. They've scored, was it like once in the last dozen or so games? Not as ridiculous as that, but not far off. So I just love the price of it, and I want it in.
I
really want it.
It's effectively the gamut, 2 parts.
I love it.
Do you reckon they call the market both teams to score for psychological reasons? Because both teams to concede, you're instantly going, yeah. Both teams to score, maybe. Both teams to concede, yeah, that's going to happen. So maybe there is that point, and maybe we should look at rebranding it.
This is both teams to concede Acca.
Both teams to concede Acca. It's the gamble on. I like it. You're gambling basically on the new manager who's come back, and the timing of it. We said it's weird timing. It gives him 3 games. Apologies, Rotherham fans. You've played 43 with 23 points, not 44, as I falsely claimed earlier. 3 games to work with. Just gets to grips with the squad. Just gets to trying to lift people a bit up. Try and get some wins under their belts before they then go into next season. I don't know.
This is actually a winnable game for Rotherham.
This is like
could be a feel-good factor.
Timing of it just feels,
I would definitely
get people into the New York State. Come on, cheer them on. Steve Evans is back. Yada yada.
I would, if Steve Evans had gone to pretty much any other team in the Championship, I would probably be very hesitant. But he's going to Rotherham, and they have got a squad that's built for his style of football. That's why it didn't work with the previous regime, is because the players just weren't suited to playing how he wanted them to play. We know Steve Evans is going to go in there, and this is going to sound really bad, but it's quite easy to, in the short term, get a team to play in that kind of way. Be a little bit more difficult to beat long balls, play for second balls. And yeah, they could definitely cause Birmingham some problems. And Birmingham have kind of got to go for this because they are outside the relegation zone at the moment, but they've got this huge game. And then they play Huddersfield next week. And they'll not want to go to Huddersfield being in the bottom three because that onus is on Huddersfield then just to not lose. So this is a massive game for Birmingham. They're going to have to open up at some point, go for the win. And Rotherham are more than capable with Steve Evans of getting it. The more we're talking about this, the more I'm liking it at this price. I think its price does look very, very big. And Birmingham, they don't keep clean sheets away from home either.
Alex Ravel's in temporary charge, caretaker charge, should I say, of Stevenage. So it is really that Steve Evans era of Rotherham throwback all over. No matter he's going to leave Alex behind for some memories. You could stay there and take charge. You've said you talked yourself into it. I liked it anyway. I know you like it. Fourth pick here of our BTTS Acca.
We'd see if we can get priced Steve Evans getting himself a touchline ban for next season. Yeah. Like in these final 3 games of the season as well.
Can you back manager cards, by the way?
I don't know.
You've never been able to back manager cards. I know the market's always kind of like on the player has to be on the pitch or, you can't, if they get booked on the bench, you don't count. But someone somewhere, please, just give us manager bookings markets. I don't know how the hell you'd price them. But
Javi's booking in midweek was really good. Did you see that? I don't know whether he knew what he was kicking. It was like a sponge hoarding, but he properly leathered it. I don't think managers should get booked. I love it.
Yeah.
Like seeing him absolutely lose it on the touchline like that when the whole season's about to disintegrate.
Yeah.
That was peak. It was almost. It reminded me of when Mourinho picked up the water bottle thing and just smashed it, and the water just went
celebrating a goal weirdly.
Yeah. Absolutely genius. But yeah, that is a good market. Someone should provide that.
Red card took us off topic there.
It's all right. Red cards for benches. They're also my favourite because you don't know who's got them. Leeds Blackburn at the end who went, oh my God, Daniel Farke's been set. Oh, right, no, it's just some coach who's now sat behind the bench. Yeah, fine, don't worry about it.
Did you say you went to a game the other day where there was they were taking it in turns to...
Oh, yeah, I went to Harrogate Grimsby, and the David Artell would go and complain, and then he'd kind of go, and then Sean Pearson would go up and complain, and then Artell got booked about 80 minutes. Somehow they managed... This system works, clearly, and then after that it was just Pearson just constantly going, what the hell's going on here? We were right behind the benches. It was absolutely fascinating insight. 4 teams then that we've got BTTS for this week. Joining the 2 in the Premier League, Luton, Brentford, Sheffield United, Burnley, alongside Portsmouth against Wigan. It is Rotherham against Birmingham on Steve Evans' return. 4 picks then. The price there, we said around, was it 7-1 that we're going at. Final game. Tricky. I don't know whether I want to go for nothing games or games that have something on it. One that did jump out to me though, Sky Bet League 1, Charlton Athletic at home to Shrewsbury Town. I don't know why I gave them their full names, but I've gone for it, so I'll stick with it.
Thanks, Thomas Carnduff.
No worries. Shrewsbury are safe-ish, right? They're not going to go down. Just having a look at the table in front of me, they are 6 points clear of Cheltenham. Cheltenham have an extra game. It's tricky at this point, I think, for that to happen. But said it before, since Paul Hurst came in, I think away from home they're probably going to be a bit better than they are at home. Just get to the summer, stay up, rebuild, go for it there. And then you kind of look at their away results. Drew at Bolton, didn't they? Scored at Portsmouth as well, beat Port Vale. 3 at Reading, scored at Derby, scored 2 at Northampton, scored at Peterborough as well. And Charlton's own results, they're safe, but definitely far from nothing to play for as kind of Nathan Jones eyes up a summer rebuild, really to kind of presumably go for the top end of the table, probably the title. You look at the odds for next season, Wrexham, as you'd expect, are a short price one, but Charlton, around that 16-1-ish marker, was one that kind of caught my eye. Their results, 1-1, 2-2, 2-1, 0-0, boo, 1-1, 1-1, 3-2, 1-3, 1-1, 1-2. Score goals, cannot defend. Just feels to me as a both teams to score game, and at a price of around, is it 4 to 5-ish, depending where you look, 20 to 23 in places, jumps off the page to me as a both teams to score potential in the League One slate.
Yeah, mate, I had it.
There's my pitch.
Yeah, it's one of my top picks for BTTS at 20 to 23. 75% of Charlton's games have gone both teams to score all season, and they had 3 different managers. Did Appleton come in during the season? Because it all blurs into one by this point, doesn't it? Yeah, they started with Dean Holden.
Yeah.
Changed to Michael Appleton.
Yeah, Appleton came in about October, was it? Time, maybe?
Yeah. And now they've got Nathan Jones. 3 very, very different characters.
Yeah.
Nathan Jones is way better suited to that club, a support base that have been treated like dog shit, hate the owners. They need someone that is going to be mental on the touchline. It's no surprise there's been greater buy-in since he's come in. He is a very good coach. Obviously, he's mad as a snake.
Mad as a snake.
I heard that.
Yeah, big in Ian Hollowayism.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like it. Jake touched on it just when we had a little break before this, saying I quite like the Charlton game actually, because when you get to this point in the season, you're going to be trying to play attacking football at home and there's nothing on it. It's a really good point. So yeah, I'd have it in there, and the price I think is particularly generous, probably based on the fact that Shrewsbury over the whole season are fairly low, both teams to score hit rate, but managerial change playing a big part in that, as you've just alluded to, Tom. So yep, being there for me. And I think we'd have a pretty nice big priced Acca for a bit of fun this weekend then.
Anything else? Agree?
Yeah, not much more to add. Like Jeff said, my main point was that these home matches for a team like Charlton, who, like you said, are going to be looking at next season and making it. It's all about providing hope through the summer of what they can expect and what they can look forward to. And if they put on a decent display in these last couple of home matches, fans are going to be a lot more excited for the next season. Yeah. The way that you read out all the stats, there's a couple of 0-0s, but against teams that you'd expect 0-0s against, like Stevenage, for example. Yeah, get this in. I think we've got a nice little fivefold.
Should we settle on the 5 then? Nice, both teams to score. I think that's the way we're going to have to navigate quite a difficult results-based 1x2 market for Saturday's slate. Around 13-1, the fivefold. We're going for both teams to score in the following games: Luton versus Brentford. We've got Sheffield United versus Burnley, Portsmouth versus Wigan, Rotherham versus Birmingham, and Charlton versus Shrewsbury. Like it? I like it a lot.
Both teams to concede Acca. Yeah.
Both teams to concede Acca, around 13-1 there. And remember, to keep it fun, never bet more than you can afford. Please gamble responsibly. Make sure you get in touch with us on social media. We did read comments out today. Sorry about that. Jimmy's usually in charge of that sort of thing, and we forgot. But particularly with this Acca as well, let us know what you're thinking. If you're getting involved, what games you'd look at, what games you'd avoid. Search Sport and Life Football. You'll be able to find us that way, or, of course, in the YouTube comments as well. And head over to sportandlife.com/football to find that link, find the link, I should say, to back that at an enhanced price at 12 p.m. on Friday. Is that correct? And if you haven't already, please follow, rate us on iTunes, Spotify, or your chosen podcast provider. We will be back next week.